Joining me back on the show is UFC lightweight contender Dan Hooker. What's going on, Dan?
Yeah, not too much. Just training hard. That's about it.
Of course, man. The last time we talked, man, I asked you who are the guys in your gym that are the up and coming guys, the guys that should be signed, and you mentioned Brad Riddell. He just got signed to the UFC. He's debuting in Melbourne. What does he bring to the lightweight division?
Oh man, he's gonna be. Oh, I'm so excited for his fight and to be there and watch it. Well, I'll be backstage. We'll be watching it on TV, but just being a part of that because he's a weapon, man. He's going to excite a lot of fans. 80 some kickboxing fights. 6 or 7 MMA fights. Like the guy is exciting. Like the guy comes to take people's heads off. So I'm excited to still see who they match him against.
Is he a guy that you've worked a lot with in the past, preparing for your fights? Because I know he does a lot of coaching on the side too.
Yeah, he does a lot of coaching. Like he's been coaching and cornering Alex Volkanovski for a very long period of time. So he's always been traveling around with him and coaching at Tiger Muay Thai, training with us. Same. He was in the same position I was in with our coach Eugene, where he kind of just sent us off to experience the world, experience other coaches, other training systems, and really go out there and pick up a lot of knowledge, and then can kind of bring it all back and then put it all together back at CKB. But yeah, I've worked with Brad off and on for a very long period of time. Now we're both based back here. Yeah, we work together a lot.
I think that's what makes the coaching staff at City Kickboxing a little bit different than other places, because other guys, other coaches, they don't want their guys to leave. They don't want them to go experience other gyms because they're afraid that they're going to, stay at the other gym. How big is that for your team to be able to have a group like that are so open-minded?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the major keys of the success is that's just Eugene himself. We're inquisitive fighters, like me and Brad, we're always wanted to see what was out there in the world and on the global stage. So rather than, us stay closed-minded in New Zealand, he sent us off and let us go our ways. And yeah, it takes, he was right, I guess. He knew he had the best formula. And so he sent us out and he goes, go to America, go to Thailand, go here, go there. Work with all these guys because I know I have the best system and I know that I have the answers. So, yeah, dumb old us just took our time before we could really see where the true value was.
Yeah, man. Well, it all works out in the end because look at you guys right now. It's just like one of the best gyms in the world. Before we get into, your fights, I wanted to talk about last weekend. UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi. There were some big lightweight fights there. Khabib versus Dustin. That was more clear cut. Who won that fight. But I want to look at the co-main event, Felder versus Barbosa. That was, I think, a split decision. Did you agree with the judges?
No, I had it. I had it 29-28 to Barbosa. I thought that was from the way I score. I thought it was pretty clear. But I can understand. I can definitely understand how they saw it for Felder's way. Like, it just comes down to judging at the end of the day. Like, Felder was the one that was coming forwards, and the body language. He appeared to be the aggressor. I thought, Barbosa was fighting well off the back foot. I thought he was definitely landing the cleaner strikes of the two, and experienced fighters, you could tell that it was breaking Felder down, and it was Felder, I felt like, was getting hurt a lot more than Barbosa was. Barbosa was kind of moving and avoiding a lot of strikes and not taking him clean. But hey, it's just the way judging is. It's the way judging goes, and it's still needs to be improved, I guess.
Would you ever consider fighting in Abu Dhabi?
I think it's like a 2-day plane ride. I would do it. Israel seems to like Abu Dhabi. He's friends with a couple of the princes or sheiks over there, and so I think it would be quite an experience. I'll fight anywhere. I'll fight on the moon if they had a uh, UFC moon.
Yeah, I hope so. I think that's in the future soon. So, let's talk with what's his name? What Elon Musk and
Yeah,
make
yeah,
that shit
yeah.
happen.
Get the Space Force out there.
Yeah. Well, man, you returned to the octagon, UFC San Antonio. You took on James Vick, got the first round knockout. Was that your most technically sound knockout of your career, you think?
It's just how it played out. It's just how stylistically it's just the way it played out. Like you've just seen it in me like a very different game because there are a lot of shorter guys and I have the fairly big reach advantage on them. So then to be the longer range fighter and then like pressuring forward and throwing punches gets you into a lot of trouble. It's pretty easy to get countered. So it was just how the styles worked. And I feel like if you give me anyone that long or that much taller than me or that kind of reach, then you're going to see a more forward pressure aggressive style. It's just the way that the styles matched up.
Leading into that fight, was there a lot of mental battles, coming off the loss?
Nah, not for me. Not for me. It was this is just what I do. It's fairly straightforward to me. You know, I was never. Yeah, that's the funny thing. Like people expected me to kind of, I don't know, like change you or to approach the sport in like a different way. But like losses to me and overcoming losses, it's all part of it. It's part of being a fighter. Like this is you fight for a living. No matter what happens to you, you can pull yourself back up. So to me, it was very straightforward, and it was not. Um, yeah, it was nothing to me really.
Yeah, it's like you are you yourself accept the lifestyle of a fighter, the wins and losses. I think is it if you cannot accept that, do you think it's hard to move on and continue your fighting career? Because it seems like a lot of guys
Um,
don't.
well, they don't accept that this is part of it. I feel
Yeah.
like if they're not like lifers, I guess there's guys that come in and out, and they're like flash in a pan, and they have their 10 fights, and they come in and they've been built up well, and they had their 8-0 records, and they come in like eat a few losses, and they're like, oh well, I guess that's it. Like they're just not like lifers to me. I like the guys I looked up to when I first got into the sport is the guys with the 30, 40 fights, and they fought on every continent, and they fight anyone, and they fight on all these different shows. Like you see that in guys like Masvidal, guys like uh, Robbie Lawler, Matt Brown. Like these are the kind of guys that I feel like I'm cut from the same cloth as. Not the flash in the pan, undefeated style. That's not. Yeah, they're not lifers to me.
Well, I think you see that more often now than ever in history of mixed martial arts.
Yeah, it seems to be just the way that the UFC is going. Like they've had a pretty big appeal uh, with an undefeated record, and really, that comes down to um, like a mainstream audience. If a mainstream audience sees a undefeated record, they like to build fighters up as like superhuman. They like to when they see them in the octagon like two undefeated fighters, they like to think that they're more human than they actually are. But to me, that's not the sport. Like that to me is that's a very fragile thing, and an undefeated record to me is not proof of anything. Um, but it's just the way that the sport is marketed. It appeals to a mainstream audience. It's not how I look at the sport. Like I look at it as I like to see um, two very experienced guys, two guys that have been tested, two battle hardened fighters competing against each other, and that's more of the aspect that I, as a fan, like to view the sport.
Well, the definition you just gave is the definition of the fight that's coming up for you next with Iaquinta. You called for him after that fight. Were you kind of surprised since you've called for a bunch of fights and they never happened?
Yeah. So I was like, I was like super surprised it actually happened. I was kind of shocked. I thought I was like pushing my luck, even getting on the card, but to not only get on the card but to get to compete against a number 6. Yeah, very surprised.
Number 4.
Number 4.
I think he's number 4. Even better.
Even better. I'll take that.
Numbers are numbers, right? But people are saying that you are the favorite heading into this fight, for many different reasons. Is that something that you pay attention to?
You notice it, right? Because so many people bring it up and pay attention to it. It's not really gonna help me at the end of the day. I could be paying if I was 10-1 favorite. That would make me more nervous because now you're super expected to win. If I was, the 1-10 underdog, that makes me excited. That makes me excited. That makes me want to prove people wrong and do good. So I don't know. I'm coming in. I feel this is a pretty even playing field. I think it'll be close. Either way it goes, favor or not favor, I feel like it's an evenly matched fight for sure.
There's a common theme in MMA where you're only as good as your last fight. When you assess Iaquinta, your upcoming opponent, do you take that approach or do you look at his body of work when preparing for him?
Yeah, you have to appreciate a guy's body of work. Me, I'm not one of the people like that. I know that to the fans of the sport, well, most fans of the sport, it's just the last fight. It's as far as their memory will kind of let them travel back, or if you fought in the last 6 months and they remember a big knockout for sure. But I definitely respect the overall body of a fighter's work, and you have to, where they come through, how they come up, what kind of level of competition they've been fighting for how long. All of these things have to be taken into account.
You're having a pretty quick turnaround. It seems like you do well in that situation. Is riding the wave of momentum crucial for you?
I think it's less that than the kind of environment that is at City Kickboxing at the moment, and is with the team at the moment. There's such a buzz when you go in the gym. It's just buzzing, man. Every training session, you could just feel like an extra bit of energy, with Israel, with Brad, with all of our teammates, because we know that the storm is brewing. So yeah, there's that extra buzz, and I would be livid if I didn't get a match on this card, and this sort of energy was going on, and I had to fly over to Melbourne and sit in a crowd, or fly over to Melbourne and sit out back with everyone. I would be fuming. I would be I would be going off inside, because to miss out on this, I'm just grateful, man. I'm grateful that I got the opportunity. I'm ecstatic that I got the fight, and I just can't wait.
When I spoke with Eugene in China, he was telling me about City Kickboxing and how much it has grown. He says he has 70 guys on the mat. Has that benefited your preparation to have so many bodies compared to, because most people, when they see the team, they see the core. And I'm pretty sure the team when you guys started out wasn't 70 guys.
No, definitely no, it wasn't 70 guys, but for sure, it's sparring twice a week. There'll be 60, 70 bodies on the mat. So there's plenty of guys to pull from, and that's a mix, of newer people and experienced fighters. But there'll be 30 very experienced fighters, MMA fighters, kickboxers who I work with, and we can pull from. If you need a southpaw, if you need a 6'5" southpaw, if you need a 5 foot southpaw, if you need a you need a wrestler, you need a jiu-jitsu guy, you need a striker, you need a boxer, you need a Muay Thai fighter. Like you can pretty much pull anything out of the bag off the mats.
You mentioned the buzz. Is the buzz, it's of course it's going to be helpful for you, but how is it different though? Because you guys all have had big fights in the past. Is this just that big, so much bigger for you guys?
Yeah. It's all happening at once. Like, this is a world title. This is what we all do this for. Is to hold up a world title, and Israel's kind of getting that opportunity, and we're all riding off the back of that. It's such a huge fight for the New Zealand and Australian fans. Such a big arena, such a big opportunity for all of us. Brad's getting signed to the card. I get to be on the card and get my shot against one of the top guys in the world. Like, it's just brewing into a perfect storm, and it just makes training. It just makes it so easy, man. Like, it makes it so easy. Like, when I get to the gym, like, I haven't had one training when I was like dragging myself around this entire camp, or like unmotivated, because people start getting excited about it, which gets you excited about it, and there's an extra push, and it's all hands on deck. I haven't even noticed it. I'm halfway through my training camp, and to be honest, it doesn't feel like it's even started. We're just going through everything, and it's just been so easy being in the trenches with the whole team, and that'll help on fight night when we got. I think it's something like, plus all our cornermen, it's like 13 or 14 of us backstage. Like, there'll be 14 City Kickboxing people backstage, plus the other Kiwi, Luke Jamo, and his team, who we know, Tai Tui Vasar, like everyone. It'll be pretty much like a CKB backstage.
Well, that's gonna be phenomenal, man, to have that. And this event is gonna be crazy for the area. Now, one last thing before I let you go, I always ask fighters this: do you consider yourself a martial artist or a fighter?
Um, I'm a I'm a I'm a fighter who was forced to become a martial artist. If you want to get anywhere in this game, you need to humble yourself, and you need to learn your lessons, and you need to live the martial arts lifestyle. But at my core, I'm a fighter. When I got into this, I just like to fight. Like, I'm always game to fight, and that's helped me thoroughly throughout my career. But yeah, I've learned that the more closely I assimilate and live in a martial arts lifestyle, just the further I get in this game, and it just continues to add to my longevity.
All right, man. October 5th, UFC 243, Melbourne, Australia. Thank you, Dan, for the time again, and good luck to you and your continued path to the title.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate the time.